Good afternoon. Now I'm in page number 7 of the pre-scene material. It continues like different types of racks can be installed to make the best possible use of available space. Racks mean rack, that means storing place. From that shelf can be used, shelf above and below, something like that. And below the spaces you can store the weightless items, and above something like that. And you should make sure that it's not obstruct the way or something. Okay, the racks are not obstructing the ways to other entrance or other entry of the inventory side. Okay, so different types of racks can be installed to make the best possible use of available space, taking account of the weight of a typical pallet. For instance, pallets of electronic goods will generally be lighter than pallets of tinned foods. Say for example, pallets of electronical goods mean television, smart television, or something like that. Their weight may be very less when compared to the pallets of tin foods. Tin foods mean it contains every tin foods contains a particular kilogram. Okay, so that's what they are stating here. And warehouses can be automated, reducing the need for staff by using conveyor belts to move goods. That means they are talking about, as early mentioned, okay, it's a developed country, so they are talking about reducing the number of staff. If number of staff, so what we can discuss here is about, that means staff means you'll have to train, you'll have to induction program, you'll have to train them, and there's a culture involved. So you will have to introduce your culture to the organization, something like that. Culture of the organization to the new employees, induction program, training and development. There is a necessity for develop their skills over a time. But in this occasion, they are talking about warehouse can be automated. Automated means it's machine will be handling everything, so staff's role is less. Okay, that means their staff's role is limited. So warehouses can be automated, that means everything machinated or automated, that means machines will do. Okay, automated, reducing the need for staff. So number of staffs recruited can be, okay, reduced by using conveyor belts. That means belts, through the belt system it will be move from one place to one. Conveyor belts to move goods. It is also possible to use robots. Robots means designed similar to human, those who can perform the task similar to human beings. Okay, humans. So it can pick from one place, and it can store it into another place, or it can move, or it can install certain something like that. But it's that means the systems are designed and timed everything. Okay, that means everything will be timed. So that means in the system, everything system will be given the given the instruction, so the robot will perform according to that. So robot to pick and carry goods, placing them in their assigned storage location, or preparing them for dispatch. So dispatch also, that means it will move to the next point, and from there it is the forklift operator's duties to take it from take those pallets, okay, to their transport vehicles. This type of automation is frequently associated with the fulfillment of online sales, because online sales, the inventory is kept in a proper manner. Inventory is kept, and if there is a order for orders are placed, it will be picked by robots and it will be dispatched for delivery. So that means it's highly efficient because it will not time consuming, because at any time it will be performed, and as well it's not subject to strikes or something. That means employee trade union actions or something. So risks perspective, that means redundancy payments is not subject, and there is no training and development, and automated, so it will perform as per the instructions installed in the software. So that is what on the software it will perform. So assign storage location or preparing them for dispatch. This type of automation is frequently associated with the fulfillment of online sales. Dispatches might comprise a single item or small number of different products. So single item, maybe if it is a single item, it will dispatch something like laptop or a desktop computer or whatever, single item, or a small number of different products. Okay, maybe different products. Okay, maybe the computer, the laptop with a printer and a Wi-Fi or something. Usually that will be expected when the orders are. So one robot can be able to perform pickup of a small number or a single number of item. Okay, pick from a large warehouse that stores many different products. So different robots will be given different tasks, so that will be automated. And many products require specialized facilities for handling and storage. So many products require specialized facilities for handling and storage. For example, liquids require tankers. That means liquid only can be stored in tanks, and storage tanks. Grain and other crops require their own equipment for collection and storage. So grain mean it will be storage under the own equipment for collection and storage. So crops, it's a different one. So liquid means different. So it's different. Okay. So different types of goods can also raise safety concerns if they are flammable or toxic and must be handled with care. Sometimes if it is when it comes to toxic item or something, it should be dealt with care. So in this occasion also, robots are very helpful when compared to human beings involved, because it may, when they are directly involved, it is subject to risk, but as far as robots concerned, it will be monitored with videos or something. That means CCTV process. If anything goes wrong, okay, they will be monitored, but until that it can be performed by the robots. Okay, so inflammable or toxic and must be handled with care. Or there may be hygiene issues with goods that are intended for human consumption. In that occasion also, it is better to recommend for high recommendation for automation, because if there is a health perspective, okay, you should wear the necessary clothing and to handle the food stuff. But as far as for a human to involve, they will have to wear proper safety shoes and proper clothing, and they will have to cover their hair and everything for a factory like Nestle. Okay, but in this occasion there is no necessity, because robots may not have hairs or anything unhygienic items, because it will be clean as far as if the limited access is given for the entrance of the factory process. So or there may be hygiene issues with goods that are intended for human consumption, either as food products or ingredients. And road transport, so they are giving a pie chart, road vehicles account for most of the expenditure on transportation for logistical purposes, and road transportation accounts for 76%. And the second one is sea transportation, cargo 13%, and air 6%, and rail 5%. So expenditure on transportation by mode, because maybe the reason may be by road you can access into anyway you can access into any part of the world, but sea, it should be connected with sea, or air, it should be connected with airport terminals, but rail, again, railway stations, or railway something like that. So that is the reason. That means for road, okay, it is maybe a delivery vehicle, or a something like that, truck or something like, so it is easy. So 76%, it is connected anyway, you can connect. So that's what the road is taking a significant amount of 76% when compared to the total transportation of 100%. 76% is accommodated by road, and sea 13, and air 6, and rail transport 5%. And moving to page number 8, cars and van. So just now we have looked at road transport, it consists of 76%. Cars and vans usually comes under road transportation. So cars and vans can be efficient means of carrying small loads, as you all know, you may even use, okay. So cars and vans, okay, it's very, as far as if you have a driving license, okay, and the driver can be employed for 8-hour period or something like that. There is no specific training required, okay. Only the product codes will be explained to them. This contains, or it is also labeled properly. Then they also know that this is something contains the contents of inside. So they will take the delivery of the products with care. So cars and vans can be efficient means of carrying small loads, particularly when making multiple deliveries over the last mile for an online retail. So even supermarkets, they do delivery vans, okay. So drivers do not need to have special licenses. So it's a light license and heavy vehicle license. So most of the time light vehicles can be used. So drivers do not need to have special licenses, and so recruitment and retention are simplified for employers. So just recruiting driving license drivers may be very easy than trained force of employees. And some large vans can accommodate pallet and can be loaded and unloaded by forklift. So some of the delivery some large vans can accommodate a pallet. That means a pallet means it's a wood made pallet which can be lifted by forklift. So on top of, you will put your inventory or your goods, and it will be stored, okay, in top of the wooden pallet, and then it will be easy for you to lift it through forklift. So forklift is a convenient way of lifting across the warehouses, okay. That means the forklift can run within a short space of distances and until to the loading into a heavy vehicle or something. And they are talking about the other another kind of vehicle, that is rigid trucks. Rigid trucks consist of a chassis with a cab for the driver and a load compartment. So cab means it's a front seating position, and for the driver who drives that particular truck, and a load compartment to carry the load, that is the compartment. Manufacturers usually supply these vehicles without a load compartment. So manufacturers usually supply these vehicles without a load compartment. So manufacturers, they supply these vehicles without a load compartment, without a load. Third party suppliers can then add a load space that best meets the buyer's needs. So that means they want the manufacturers usually they want decide the compartment, so that the third party suppliers, that they will decide which compartment to choose according to the needs of transportation. Okay, load space that best meets the buyer's needs. For example, the load compartment could have flexible curtain sides that can be opened to make it easier to load and unload with a forklift, or the load compartment might be refrigerated. So some of the items may be food items, food and beverages, refrigeration may be needed. Okay, buy a hot chicken or something like that, or even sausages or something. Okay, whatever. Okay, farm items. Okay, meat or some food items like that, or even seafoods or something. But some of the this one. So flexible curtain side. So there will be a curtain, so you can remove that curtain and you can load it, and then you can cover it by a curtain. So for example, the load compartment could have flexible curtain sides that can be opened to make it easier to load and unload with a forklift. Of the load compartment might be refrigerated. So a forklift compartment, that means space will be, a particular space will be refrigerated, the other space may not be refrigerated. So that is compartments. And rigid trucks are available in a variety of sizes. So those sizes can differ. Okay, Roundlandian law permits trucks up to 7.5 tons. That means you can notice that every vehicle, the tons also it will be mentioned. That means the vehicle may carry this much of ton, like a car, this much of passengers. Okay, 5-seated passengers, something like that. Okay, van also, how many seated passengers or something like that. This is 7 point. This is a transportation, fleet of vehicle for transportation. So tons, they will mention it, ton, how many kilos they can use for transportation and purposes. So 7.5 tons to be driven by holders of standard driving license, that is no special permits needed, driving license permits needed. Large trucks require heavy goods vehicles license. So larger vehicles, they will have to heavy license is needed. So that is in round land requirement. And 18-ton trucks are a popular size because they are well suited to carrying pallets of goods. So usually 18-ton trucks are the common size of truck seen in round land. They are suited for carrying pallets of goods, so transportation purposes. And another category of vehicle they are talking about here, articulated trucks, which is articulated trucks consist of a tractor unit and a trailer. So that means it consists of a tractor unit and a trailer. Trailer means towing by a trailer. Okay, the tractor unit has the driver's cab, that is tractor unit, that is driver will stay. The engine and the fuel tanks, that means the engine and fuel tanks will contain in the tractor unit. The trailer carries the load, so the trailer carries the load. Tractors and trailers are designed to be interchangeable. Tractors and trailers are designed to be interchangeable. That means it can be changed to the extent that a trailer can be left at a destination for loading, and the tractor can be hitched to another trailer for the return journey. That means once they reach a particular destination, maybe a factory they come up with the raw material to unload. They will, okay, trailers are designed to be interchangeable to the extent that a trailer can be left, that means a trailer can be left at the factory, that means raw material from the suppliers can be left at the factory and they can take out, that means destination for loading. Extend a trailer can be left at a destination for loading, and the tractor can be hitched to another trailer, that means another trailer which is full of finished goods from the factory can be hitched to another trailer and they can start moving on the same time for the return journey. So there is no waiting time for that particular articulated truck. Okay, so hitched another trailer for the return journey. Trailers come in a variety of different configurations. So trailers come in a variety of different configurations, so different sizes, allowing buyers to specify the manner in which they will be loaded and unloaded, as well as the ability to specify trailers that are suited to different types of cargo. So it depends on the trailers, that means what sort of goods they are going to transport. So according to the trailers may differ. That means if it is refrigerating or something, or what space requirement that gaps needed or something like that, it's the trailers are different. Okay, drivers must have heavy goods vehicle licenses before they can drive an articulated truck. So who will be the articulated driver? The heavy vehicle license holder. Okay, articulated truck, even if it is a bare tractor unit without a trailer, even without a bare tractor, that without a trailer, they will have to have a hard vehicles license. Okay, they cannot be driven by a standard license holder. Okay, some tractor units come equipped with a sleeping compartment. So some tractor units come equipped with a sleeping compartment, that means the driver have the facility to take a sleep, which enables the driver to park overnight and sleep in the cab. That means they don't want to find a hotel or accommodation. They can itself, okay, from the tractor itself, they can have a sleep overnight and they can continue once they are satisfied with the sleeping requirement. Okay, because driving is for to continue their driving for long journeys, sometimes it may be necessary on the halfway to have rest. Okay, and rail means it's a rail transport. So rail transport offers a number of advantages over road. So rail means it's giving advantages over road. That means road transport, when compare road transport or rail transport gives more advantage. First one they are mentioning here, rail transport is generally more sustainable than road transport with lower emissions per ton per kilometer. Because in a road transport there may be circumstances, there may be road works, if there is an accident, due to that there may be some traffic. Okay, road works, due to road works or something, there may be traffic. So these waiting time is there. So it is so rail transport is generally more sustainable than road transport with lower emissions per ton per kilometer. So that means there is no roadworks reported or no accidents. That means if it is clearly signal controlled or something, if it is controlled, if the control unit is very efficient, then there is less chances of accident free environment. So low emissions per ton per kilometer, and using rail reduces congestion. That is what the traffic, congestions on the roads. It is estimated that each train load of goods replaces 75 articulated truckloads on the road. So these rail transports 75 articulated truckloads on the roads. So one rail itself take a load of 75 articulated truckload. So it can save heavy traffic. Okay, it can reduce the traffic to a great extent, and rail can be more reliable in terms of on time delivery. On time delivery is very important for this logistics arrangement, because if you promise to deliver by on time a particular date, you will have to deliver on time, because you don't know what purpose they are asking for the delivery. So sometimes maybe a Olympic Games event, okay, maybe a project or whatever coordination, lot of people may come, and lot of things, lot of arrangements to be done in earlier. So due to that may be a transport requirement. So you doesn't know, but they have to have on time. Otherwise, even one day later, it will not going to satisfy the purpose of the order. So rail can be more reliable in terms of on-time delivery, which can be beneficial when scheduling the movement of goods for immediate use. So that is also there. And rail transportation is often much cheaper, particularly for the carriage of materials in bulk. So if you are going to carry materials in bulk, lots of materials at once, it is better to transport by rail. Okay, rail can be used to carry a range of products. Wagons come in a variety of different configurations. Wagons means that compartments, okay, different configuration, different sizes. So as per the requirement, they will connect to the compartment, engine. So including open wagons for raw materials such as iron ore, tankers for liquids, and wagons adapted for special loads such as cars and vans. So it depends on what you are going to carry. So the wagons will differ. That means the compartments which is connected to the engine of rail is differ. So wagons come in a variety of different configurations, including open wagons for raw materials, that is open, no need to cover and go materials, such as iron ore, tankers for liquids, tankers, that is a different design of liquid, okay, different wagons to, okay, to liquid, okay, and wagons adapted for special loads such as cars and vans, to carry cars and vans. The usefulness of rail depends largely on the location of facilities that are convenient for loading and unloading at either end of a load's journey. So the usefulness of rail depends. That means sometimes rail may be very cheap, but it is not attracting because it may not be convenient, because from the railway station to the end delivery point, you may have to take another transport. So that's what the usefulness of rail depends largely on the location of facilities. Where the location of facilities, whether even at the railway point, okay, if there is any facilities available to unload and load, okay, that are convenient for loading and unloading at either end of a load's journey. That means some of the rail stations may not have loading and unloading. That means very big, the facility level may not be a material, or not substantial enough, okay. So that may be a situation. Roundland has an extensive network of railway lines that are used for passengers and freight. So Roundland, the land in which this pre-seen material talks about, has an extensive network of railway lines. That means railway lines that are used for passengers for the purposes of transporting persons, and freight, that means load. All of the country's seaports have rail connections. That means seaports, that means ships, cargoes have rail connections. So the rail routes are connected to the cargo lines, connections to their freight docks. So rail, you can transport through rail, and from that you can discontinue some of the items to the sea ports, and from that the cargo ship will look after the rest of the journey. Okay, that may be the idea. Okay, freight docks. So connection to their freight docks. So Roundland has an extensive network of railway lines that are used for passengers and freight. All of the country's seaports have rail connections to their freight docks, and so it is possible to offload ships directly into trains. So if there is any cargo loads to be unloaded, it can be unloaded to the train straight away. That means containers or something, that containers can be lifted to from cargo to the train. Okay, rail wagons. Okay, so seaports have a rail connection to their freight docks, so it is possible to offload ships directly into trains. The railway lines are used by several rail operators. That means not there is one operator, there are several operators, they are sharing. That means that railway track or the railway facility they are sharing, enabling logistics companies to offer both rail freight and road for the transportation of goods. So the railway lines are used by several rail operators. That means not one, it's not a monopoly, it's operated by several operators, enabling logistics companies to offer, that means logistics company may offer both rail freight and road for the transportation of goods. Okay, so logistics companies may use rail transport or road transport, okay, with their preference. Right. C. So it may be necessary to use sea freight simply because there are no alternatives. So it may be necessary to use sea freight simply because there are no alternatives. So some of the times, okay, the best mode of transport may be sea because there is no other alternatives, cheaper or something like that, or some of the material only better transported by sea because air freight may be very expensive. So when compared to cost and the distance, it may be very cheap for sea. So it may be necessary to use sea freight simply because there are no alternatives when goods are to be transported to or from a distant location. That is what I also mentioned. That means if the distance is very high, it is always think about sea freight than air freight because it's very expensive. Okay, distant location. For example, Roundland imports large quantities of grain. Grain means it's a food item, and most of the people, okay, may rely on the grains to prepare their foods, bread or bakery items. Okay, grain from Northland. Okay, so for example, Roundland imports large quantities of grain from Northland, so they are importing from Northland, which is on the far side of the Western Ocean. So far from Western Ocean. That grain is transported to ports in Roundland on bulk carriers. So they are taking in bulk carriers. Okay, that means bulk amount. The grain is then transported by road or rail to factories where it is used to make bread and other products, bakery items. So grain means it's the consumption. Okay, imagine there may be there may be a substantial level of consumption of grains. So and the necessity is also very high because if the agriculture is not sufficient enough to satisfy their needs, okay, they will have to take it from overseas countries where the grains are cheap because it's an international trade. That means whatever is cheaper to produce, you will produce and you will export and they will buy, and whatever it's cheaper to import, you will import and you will buy from others. That is what international trade. So everyone will be benefited. That is international, one of the aspect of international trade is, that means everyone will be benefited out of their raw materials availability and the skills labor availability and etc. They will make use of the available resources and they will trade to international countries, overseas countries. On the same times, whatever lack, they will get it from outside. So that is what it's happening here. So for example, Roundland imports large quantities of grain. That means there may be a shortage in meeting the needs of grain. That means food, okay, of internally produced, okay. So large quantities of grain from Northland, which is so distance location. For example, Roundland imports large quantities of grain from Northland, which is on the far side of the Western Ocean. So far side means long distance. And that grain is transported to port in Roundland on bulk carriers. So bulk carriers mean they are taking in bulk. The grain is then transported by road or rail to factories where it is used to make bread and other products. That is one of the transportation, either, okay, a rail or a road, okay, make bread and other products. So bulk carriers have open holes that can carry large quantities of goods such as grain, ore or coal. So these are the things, large, okay, amounts they can carry at once. So in this occasion, definitely rail transport is very, rail and sea, okay, rail and sea is this one, and they are previously they have mentioned that rail is most of the time is connected with port, okay, cargo ports. So each type of load requires special, so bulk carriers have then have open holes that can carry large quantities of goods such as grain, ore or coal. Each type of load requires specialized equipment. That means specialized equipment to allow it to be loaded and unloaded quickly and efficiently. So each type of load requires specialized equipment to allow it to be loaded and unloaded quickly and efficiently. That means to faster the process, okay, loading and unloading. So bulk carriers have open holes that can carry large quantities of goods such as grain, ore or coal. Each type of load requires specialized equipment to allow it to be loaded and unloaded quickly and efficiently. Bulk goods are often loaded into open-topped railway wagons at the dockside. So liquids such as, so bulk goods, that means amounts in material, okay, the goods in material amount are often loaded into open-topped railway wagons at the dockside. Open top, that means the top was open-topped railway wagons at the dockside. Liquids such as oil are carried on tanker ships. So liquids like oil, crude oil or something, okay, tanker ships, tanks, okay, tanker ships, that means which ships carries tankers, okay, tanker ships. Liquids can be pumped from tankers into storage tanks by the dockside. So empty tanks, it will be loaded and then they will start. So liquids can be pumped from tankers into storage tanks to be transferred to the this one, okay. So liquids can be pumped from tankers into storage tanks by the dockside. These liquids can then be pumped to smaller ships or into tankers towed by trucks or railway locomotives for onward transportation. So this is what, so liquids such as oil are carried on tanker ships. So tanker ships means the ships are carrying the tankers, oil, okay, especially those ships are carrying oil tanks, okay, crude oils or whatever, okay. Why? If there is an oil spill or something, the ship is very professional to carrying those kind of this one. So in that occasion, that tanker ships, okay, will be ready to act upon any oil spillages, oil leakage, okay. That is what there is a difference, and the design is also different. That means it's a tanker ships, and liquids can be pumped. So uh, coast guard providers will be there, those kind of ports, okay. So these are the logistics things to be taken care, okay. So we will have to think about that, okay. So what will be the risk, and by carrying by undertaking the transportation of, okay, oil or something, what will be the additional risk, something like that, okay. So liquids can be pumped from tankers, from the tanks, okay, into storage tanks. In this kind of storage tanks, the dock side, those liquids can then be pumped to smaller ships, small ships. Then these liquids can then be pumped to smaller ships. Smaller ships, they will transfer, or into tankers towed by trucks or railway locomotives for onward transportation. Then onward transportation by railway locomotives or trucks. So now I am moving into page number 10. It's about